this cliffhanger. I did not think Nakaba would actually do this so quickly. That truly surprises me. I figured it would be a bit, like at least another 10 or so chapters, 5 at the minimum, until we got to see Zeldris in action. I didn't think we would dive right into Meliodas versus Zeldris right here, right now, of all things. I mean, especially after what we found out about the Demon King and Zeldris. It's just like, it doesn't make sense how Meliodas would be able to defeat him. I mean, I know it's a 1v7. At the end of the day, it's a 1v7, all the sins going up against, you know, Zeldris, but still, from what we saw, when Meliodas and Elizabeth faced up against the Supreme Goddess and the Demon King, there was nothing they can do. They were getting fucking destroyed. And Elizabeth isn't really that weak. We know Elizabeth wasn't that weak in the past, and also she has the ability to heal others. So she was able to probably constantly heal Meliodas and all of that, but it still was not enough. I mean, even with all these sins, even with Merlin and all that, with her broken abilities, Escanor with his sun god powers, I just don't know if it's possible to bring someone down like Zeldris that apparently has the power of the Demon King. He legit has the power of the Demon King. How are you supposed to fight that? That's what I'm curious about. How are you supposed to fight a man that is at the level of the Demon King? So, kind of curious about this. I mean, many are speculating, and I saw it, many were saying, like, most likely, judging how we know that Zeldris cares about Meliodas, like, you can see that he does love his brother, that maybe he might turn to their side, help them out, and probably lift the curse that is on Elizabeth, but that feels like it's way too easy. I mean, with the way the curse was, like, been built up for so long, and we finally found out the information on it, to, you know, how the series has been, I just don't think that the curse would be lifted this easily. For instance, if Zeldris, like, turns, you know, good or whatever, I just don't think it would be over that soon. Because we gotta remember what Nakaba-sensei did with Diane. I mean, Diane, he had her loss of memories as a critical plot point for a good long time. I think about, like, 80-something chapters, so when you think about Diane's, you know, overall plot point with her, and then you look at this, I mean, yes, if you think about it, Elizabeth has been like this the entirety of the series, but we just recently found out about it. I just don't think that Zeldris will lift the curse. In fact, he might make it even worse. I could see the man actually going out of his way and killing Elizabeth. Now, that would be pretty fucked. Like, I mean, you gotta remember, this is straight up like the Demon King that they're facing. And we saw what the Demon King was capable of. Like, just destroyed Meliodas and Elizabeth like it was nothing. And if he really is at that level, they're not gonna stand a chance, even with their sacred treasures and all that, their power-ups. It's still not enough. Definitely, it's not enough. I mean, Meliodas has gotten stronger, obviously. I just don't think he could face someone like the Demon King and bring someone like that down, even with the help of others. I mean, maybe sealing Zeldris, that might be a possibility, but I don't think being able to kill him is actually a possibility. So, yeah. I wonder how this could turn out. I could definitely see Nakaba-sensei having everybody beat, and then Zeldris goes out of his way and kills Elizabeth. Now, that would be pretty fucked. I mean, I could definitely see something like that if that does happen. I mean, we know Elizabeth wouldn't necessarily be quote-unquote dead, because she would get reincarnated, but still, that would be pretty fucked up if Zeldris went in and just murdered Elizabeth. Like, she would get reincarnated, but still, it'd be messed up. It would be. It's kind of like we're still losing the Elizabeth we know of right now. Now, besides all of that, though, besides talking about this very hype moment that I'm excited for next week's chapter, let's talk about the beginning of this chapter. So, we get to see Peliodas once again. I know that's not his full or original name. Peliodas is his nickname. We get to see Peliodas once again, and this, once again, proves how much the entire anime, Season 1 of Taizai, pisses me off. I remember so much when I watched the episode of the anime, and you saw Galther's introduction, how they changed it, how A1 changed Galther's introduction. They didn't even introduce Peliodas. He was non-existent at all. And now you see, after all of this time, Peliodas is finally back, and we get to see Galther's exchange with him, which offers an insight to Gowther's character, his development, how much he has changed since he left and is now back. Gowther's development and his, you know, I guess change is not going to mean as much when the anime probably makes a season 2, because a season 2 will eventually happen, most likely. So when you look at it like that, it makes me really upset that shit was changed and skipped from the anime, because this entire part, if the anime ever got here, won't be as amazing, because we can clearly see how much Gowther has developed. So yeah, Peliodas pops up in this chapter. We get to see kind of what's going on with his hometown. It gives us an insight to what's been going around the country. For instance, as the Demon Clan has been taking over and been forcing villagers to feed them souls, we get to see what's kind of been going on. And we can see Peliodas' village is pretty fucked. Like, they are sacrificing tons of people. We get to see the graves and all of that. Peliodas is finally pissed off. He's like, we need to fight back. And eventually puts him into some trouble where he's about to die. And then obviously Gowther comes in and saves him, and it kind of finishes that overall plot point to show how much Gowther has changed and how he is bettering himself as a person. So, pretty simple part of the chapter, but it really had a lot of meaning to it because of how Gowther started and where he is at now as a person. Now, talking about Bon. Now, Bon is the character we all knew was going to be kind of affected by Meliodas' story. After what Meliodas said and all that, about revealing his past and, you know, his connection with Elizabeth, we knew that Bon would feel guilt. We knew this man would feel upset with himself. We know this man would probably be like, fuck, I said that horrible shit to my friend, my best friend, and he went through like 100 times worse than I did. He's like, fuck, how can I look at this man with a straight face anymore and just, you know, act like I'm having a hard life when he's been through so much worse. And the fucked up part is that he's very similar to Bon, because he has eternal life, technically. He can't die. I mean, his situation's different, but he still can't die, and Bon can't die, so Bon's like, fuck, Meliodas has suffered through this for 3,000 years, can't die. He watched his girl he loves dies multiple times. I probably won't have to see that. I'll probably be disconnected from my love. I'll probably be, you know, completely away from her for a long time because I can't die, but the point stands, he's like, fuck, he's went through so much worse. And when you see him take his aggression out on the demon, he's like, it's been a long time since I just wanted to die. Like, the man just gets clobbered and all that, and then he kills the demon. It shows his mental state, how upset he is within himself, and he really, really probably wants to apologize to Meliodas after basically getting a big L. Like, oh man, that man, kind of feel bad for Bon. I mean, he needs a power-up. He's been through a lot, yes, but what happened to Meliodas is even more fucked. But there is one thing, though. If there is one thing that Bon does have, which shout out to that man, it seems like that man actually slept with Elaine in this chapter. Like, let me go to the panel. There's a panel where Diane, she's crying and all that, saying, it's my fault, and then you have it to where Escadori's like, nah, it's my fault. I was the one that said something and all that. I shouldn't have, you know, had Elizabeth Hill Merlin. You can see he feels guilt, and then, you know, Diane feels guilt, and then Hawk walks up. It's like, nah, stop saying that type of shit, you know. Anyone that's suffering more than any of us here is definitely Meliodas, so just shut the fuck up. It's nobody's fault. And we shift that scene over, and you get to see Bon. He's just chilling in the bed with Elaine. You can see he has no shirt on or anything. So this man getting it on with his girl. Like, oh my god, Bon. So at least, yeah, he's sad. He's depressed. But you can see that the man, at the very least, he's getting, you know, getting it on with her. I mean, I guess it's not just Token and Kaneki that, you know, are having sex recently. It seems like Bon and Elaine are, you know, doing that too. So anyways, chapter overall is very short, very simple. Artwork looked very good, I have to point out. I really love the artwork that Nakaba-sensei has been putting into the series. You can clearly see that the artwork has improved a bit, because a while back, a couple months ago, you know, Nakaba-sensei, he was going through some issues. The man was sick or whatever. He had to take a full month off. It was like at the beginning of this year, and then ever since then, he took like a little break and all that, and you saw how like the artwork wasn't as impressive as it once was, which is understandable. When a man is sick, a man is sick. When a man is tired, a man is tired. That's just how it is. We shouldn't give Nakaba-sensei shit for that, or any writers shit for that. Not even Hiro Mashima, yes, I know. Not even Hiro Mashima, the writer of Fairy Tail, deserves shit if he's sick. If the man's sick, he's sick. That just, let's be human fucking beings for instance, okay? Let's not be like heartless people. So Nakaba-sensei's art, obviously, it degraded a bit, and you could see in recent chapters, it's definitely improved, and you could see he's putting a lot more effort into the backgrounds, to the character expressions and all that. You can see he's finally getting back into what he once was. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see the artwork has definitely improved a bit since how it was a couple months ago. And I just really wanted to mention that because it's very noticeable thanks to what we saw in last chapter with the Supreme Goddess and the Demon King, and in this chapter as well, especially the Bond panel, when Bond was straight pissed off, that facial expression, all that. Very, very good artwork. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.